apple pie. We're going to start with the crust, and trust me, this is the best crust for apple pie. So in the bowl I've got flour, sugar, and salt. Just mix it all together. So here I have enough flour and fat to make 2 double crusted apple pies. You want to go ahead and just crumb this mixture or combine it so that when you're done, your flour and fat resembles something like a coarse crumb mixture. I've got 8 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 cups of regular Crisco, and 2 cups of butter Crisco. It does yield a very flaky, tasty pie crust. So we'll continue this until it's thoroughly combined. Alright, so here's what my flour fat mixture looks like. Not as fine a crumb as most pie crusts are, but that is why it is so delicious. Okay, now to this mixture I'm going to add some water, eggs, vanilla, and vinegar that have been beaten together. And when you're making pie crust, you don't want to handle the crust too much, otherwise it will become tough. So you just fold the batter on itself till it becomes a soft dough. Now I did chill my fat in the fridge overnight. I'm using ice water and cold eggs. That's 2 eggs, a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. See, it's folding together quite nicely. Just continue to fold as such until it becomes one cohesive mass. Notice I'm not pressing or squeezing it much, just folding it onto itself. Alright, this looks good. I'm just going to bunch it together, put it in some saran wrap, and set it in the fridge for about 15 minutes, and then we're ready to roll, fill, and bake our apple pie. Here we've got 4 sections of crust, and that'll give me 2 double crusted apple pies. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the filling while the pie crust is in the fridge. So I've got half a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of white sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, 4 tablespoons of flour, and just a sprinkling of nutmeg. And this is filling for just 1 pie. Last night I went ahead and peeled, sliced, and cored my apples. So we'll mix this first. As I was peeling the apples, I put them into a cold water bath, ice water bath, with some lemon juice. Then I removed the apples from the water, put it in a Ziploc bag, sprinkled some lemon juice in as well, shook it up and put it in the fridge. And they stayed pretty nice and green, not bad. Boy, it saves you time when you actually have to make the pie. Okay, continue to mix this until it's well combined. Alright, I'm ready to roll the pie crust out. I've got 1 sheet of wax paper dusted with a bit of flour, my dough, a second sheet of wax paper also dusted with some flour, goes right on top. Kind of line your edges together. Alright, and then you're ready to roll with a rolling pin. Turn. And continue this process until your dough comes to the edges a little longer, and we'll flip this onto the pan with the bottom piece of wax paper. Alright, I rolled this out to about a 1/4 inch thickness, and you'll see the wax paper peels off quite nicely. And voila. So we'll just discard this. We're ready to flip onto the pie plate. Be careful there. Okay. I'm just going to patch this up here. We can lift the dough and set it into the pie plate. Alright, so you notice I left a little bit at the edges of the crust. Okay, and all I do here is wipe with an egg white. Okay, egg wash. All over there. Okay. And just a fork, sides. And the apple filling is going to be quite heavy anyways, but alright, and we're ready to fill. That was too big. And then you would just lay your apples in, just in a circular motion. We'll top it with a tablespoon of butter. And then, just before you place the top crust on, we'll pour the liquids into the pie. Alright, so I've laid my apples in, got some butter on top, cold butter. And now we'll just go ahead and pour the liquid over the apples. Okay. We've got the top crust over. peel off. Alright, and again, cut slightly away from the edge, about the same length as the bottom crust. That way you can pinch and tuck the top crust under the bottom. This aside, and however you want to decorate the edge of your pie. So now this is going to be a very thick end there, but most people, they appreciate lots of crust to eat. You can tuck some parts there under. Now this is a very rustic looking pie. Hearty, meaty, yummy goodness. It's very heavy. Now we'll bake this for 10 minutes at 450. Drop the temperature down to 350 and let it bake for about 15 or 20 minutes before you have to cover the edges with foil. Okay, so they don't brown or burn while it's cooking. Alright, nicely edged. Got some egg yolk here. Okay. Now we've got cinnamon and sugar. You don't want to put too much sugar while you're making the apple filling, otherwise it's going to draw out a lot of the liquid in the fruit. So if you want extra sugar, this is where you put it. Just keep in mind it will brown much faster on top with the sugar. Okay, plenty enough. Now this has a bit of a hole in the middle already, so expand it a bit. A couple of slats here and there. Spread them open some. Okay, ready to go. And here's our apple pie. Look at how gorgeous that crust is. I wish you could see the steam coming out. Delicious and yummy. So, get some ice cream and have apple pie a la mode.